Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, February 13th, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Hee-Sang Kim, Bureau of Sanitation.
Edmund Yu, Bureau of Engineering.
John Olinger, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment, no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section, and no speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, January 27th, 2017. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, we'll approve those meeting minutes. We have one administrative item, number 8, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council Districts 4 and 10 for the secondary sewer renewal program, Pico Boulevard and Hauser Boulevard. The estimate's $905,149. The bid receipt date is Wednesday, March 29, 2017. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 8 forthwith by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will do that. Before we begin with our agenda items, we have a presentation for a 43-year service retirement award to Robert B. Irvin and Mr. Zaldivar. We're starting with you, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner.
74. Okay.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's worth repeating the fact that it is 43 years. And Enrique Zaldivar, the General Manager of Sanitation, it's really an honor to be able to have Bob in our presence here and to be able to thank him for all what he has done for the city and for sanitation. I'm going to ask him to come up here so that he can keep my story in check. I can embellish from time to time, but with Bob, I won't have to. So I want to tell you that, yeah, with the 43 years being so significant, I really came to know Bob in my tenure as the general manager, which has been 9 years. And it was inevitable that I had to really get to know Bob because he has run our systems in sanitation for the last however many years, probably half of the time that he's been with us. And he's also been one that has transcended the incredible transformation that not only us, but the city as a whole has gone through with regards to the use of information technology and the use of technology to be able to run our business. And Commissioner Jacinto was on the floor earlier, and we were, in a way, talking about the times that Bob takes us back to. And, you know, it was a time in which I do remember because we had been using a computer system called the VAX computer system. None of you probably remember this. Or the fact that we only had word processors as a big, huge leap into technology. Well, that's when Bob sort of learned his trade. Now, he's a microbiologist by trade. Marine biologist. Well, there you go. See, that's why I wanted him to be here.
Good thing he was standing next to you there.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a reason why I wanted him here. Sorry. But I wanted to also say that when Bob joined the executive team, he did so as a way of helping me. His predecessor, Baruch Hopkins, some of you remember him, retired, and we hadn't quite gotten everything in place to be able to bring someone quickly to replace them. Bob very much stepped up and said, responded to my call for help. I said, Bob, can you help me just for a short 6 months at most? He said, of course. Therefore, he became an acting assistant general manager. Well, those 6 months became a year. and the 1 year became a year and a half. So Bob ended up helping me out for a year and a half. Now, I also will say that when Varouche was in the executive team, I used to call him the senior member of the executive team. Bob came into the executive group, and he was our senior member of the executive team. And I started thinking, well, I think with Bob no longer with us, I think that makes me the senior member of the executive team. But I quickly corrected that because just last week I announced the appointment of the successor for Bob, Mas Ujiri, who is senior to me. So Bob, Mas is now the senior member of the executive team. I want to say, Bob, that you have been such a steady hand in sanitation, such a mentor to so many people, certainly in his zone of influence and beyond. I mean, his calmness, his poise, his ability to maintain his coolness in the most critical of times. And I will point to one such example. A year and a half ago, Heather is very much familiar with this episode in sanitation, as is Kevin, when we were dealing with the Clean Streets data and the data integrity of our service requests. And under the most distressing of circumstances, I asked Bob to come in and help us sort through all and sift through all of the data networks and data sources that we had to sort out in a very short time. It was in those moments, Bob, in which I realized that your cool, your collectedness, your poise served us so well in sanitation, not just for that episode, but for all 43 years of your tenure. So, on behalf of the board, or certainly in representation of the board, and now it took 43 years for me to know what his middle initial stands for. His full name is Robert B. Irvin, Robert Blake Irvin. So on behalf of all of sanitation, Robert Blake Irvin, I want to present this to you, and I want to thank you and wish you the best in your retirement, whether it's in Utah or whichever other place you choose. You can always come to Upland, which is where I live. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Enrique. And before we hear from Mr. Irvin, a few words from the board. Bob, if my math is right and my history is close, you would have started work with the city probably just prior to the time President Nixon resigned. Now, he could have just resigned because he resigned in 74. So if it was 73, he was still in office. If it was 74, if it's before August or September of 74, then I think that was when he resigned, thereabouts. But either way, it demonstrates how much the city has changed, how much our country has changed, and in the world of information technology, that's a world of change. Lawyers were still using yellow pads and still researching in the library books. So you've seen a significant amount of improvement and change, and with that comes adaptation. And there was a theme to Enrique's commentary about you that I've experienced in the now 4 years that we've worked together, and that is calm, smooth, and by that I use that in a complimentary way, and under pressure. The most poignant example of which, the most comprehensive example of which, Enrique already referenced. But your leadership, as we saw in many of those meetings and late night telephone conversations, and as we moved from point A to point B in the creation of the Clean Streets Initiative in response to data that existed that came about primarily as a result of open data that the mayor wanted to open up when he took office as mayor, really was was remarkable. And the end result is a legacy project for the Bureau. Now, I know it was a team effort, a lot of people on the team, but let me just say congratulations and thank you to you for your leadership in that, because I was able to witness it firsthand, and was always felt a sense of confidence with sanitation's new project and the birth of that new project when you were in the room. So thank you for the 43 years and for your leadership. And I know that's indicative of a lot of other projects, but that's the one that I saw that was in a crisis situation, and I saw it firsthand. So congratulations on your stellar career with the city. Thank you for all of your years of service. It's always hard for our bureaus when we lose someone with so many years of experience, but we wish you the very best in your next exciting chapter.
Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Commissioner Repenning?
43 years. Did you start working here when you were 5? 6.5. Just kidding. The stress has not gotten to you, even though you've played a really important role. I just want to echo what Enrique and Kevin have said about just your brand of steadiness and your ability to deliver a new 311 system. You know, we see so many government rollouts go poorly, and this was another example where no news was good news. Everything went smoothly. It was rolled out slowly and quietly, and the department was able to keep up with all the service requests, which was great. So I know that you've done a lot more than that during your time here, but that to me has been a great example of how successful you are. So, people work together, and it's like a second family. You spend a lot of time. So I know that you will be missed by your colleagues on the 9th floor, and you are always welcome to come back and visit. We will always have use for volunteers. And I just wish you well and congratulate you on your time and service for the city.
Thank you, Commissioner Penny. Commissioner Davis?
I wanted to ask Bob, when you came, I guess it was, 1974?
I actually started as a student engineer in '71, and Sam Yorty was mayor.
That was my next question.
President James talks about things in a national perspective, but I think of things from a citywide perspective. And I remember Yorty at the time saying, because he was running against Mr. Bradley for the first time, no mayor should run for more than 2 terms. I thought that was kind of funny.
Mayor Bradley stayed 20 years.
Served.
He stayed 2 decades.
Yeah. I wanted to say to you that I am certainly proud of the service that you have given in general to the city of Los Angeles, but more specifically to the Bureau of Sanitation. You have witnessed decades of technology improvements, challenges, and I know that you can tell us some stories about things that have occurred in the past. And I think that your 43 years of experience is so valuable that I hope that you take this experience and share some of the skills that you have gained and give those to others through education and instruction and training in some capacity, because you still are a young man. As we look at public servants, you are the epitome of what we aspire to achieve in serving the public and serving others. I think Dr. Martin Luther King said it best, that anybody can be great because anybody can serve. And I am so proud of the work that you have given, again, to Public Works in general and to the Bureau of Sanitation. And it truly is probably the most dynamic Bureau of Sanitation in the country. When you look at the technology and advances that you all are implementing here in sanitation, we're leading the way. And so again, I just want to generally say to you how proud you make all of us in Los Angeles for the outstanding service and years that you have spent here with City of Los Angeles. And I thank you and I congratulate you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Arcento.
Thank you, President James. Mr. Irvin, 43 years, that's a lifetime. That's not just a career, that's a lifetime. And I think the testimony to see our Bureau of Sanitation family here and all your colleagues is testimony to your longevity, being a part of this Bureau of Sanitation ecosystem for so long and rising up. I think that not only the memory but the legacy of Robert Blake Irvin is going to continue for a long time. And so just thank you for all that commitment, for devoting so much of your life to the city is outstanding. And it's a beacon to let everybody know and some of the folks that are just starting their career that you can make it here a lifetime. You could thrive in this ecosystem. So thank you. God bless you as you continue your way, and we'll keep seeing you around, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Arcento. Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you so much for your service to our city. In the past few months, I've had the opportunity to meet some people on your team, and I see how proud they are of their work, and I'm sure that all has to do with the environment that you have created in your division. So thank you, and I hope that it continues, after you leave, and I'm sure you're leaving this legacy. And your name, I love the name. I feel like there should be like a center. We should name a center after you, Robert Blake Irvin Center for. But thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Mr. Irvin.
Gosh, very humbling. Thank you, Enrique, for the kind words, and board members as well. I'm actually a third-generation city employee, which is interesting, too. My father and grandfather both worked for the Harbor Department. And I was telling Commissioner Jacinto, my grandfather was chief architect for the harbor and designed the ferry buildings,
Wow.
which is now a maritime museum, as most of you probably know. I've worked for 5 different sanitation directors, 3 as the division head for ICSD, and as a division head for I think 16 years as the division head of Information and Control Systems Division. I've had some phenomenal opportunities. It's been a great career, and I've been fortunate in sanitation because the general managers we had are very forward-thinking, very, very pro-innovation. So it was an environment that we could flourish in a technology kind of an organization. So just a few highlights I think are worth mentioning. Some of them are a little ways back. But we had the very first mobile computer system in the city. This was implemented in early 2000, and it was a GIS-based work order delivery system, and it also used GPS to track vehicles, first in the kind of the city, and it became a model for other departments. We had fire departments and other departments coming out and seeing what we did and how we did it. That actually won several awards, including a finalist for the Arthur Ashe Award. I was able to found the Water Wastewater CIO Forum, which is a national organization of the chief information officers from the largest water wastewater utilities across the country. We're now in the 12th year, and there's about 40 members. And it's, again, the first of its kind in the country. So it's a great forum for leaders in the IT business in this type of work to get together and talk and compare notes and share information. In 2005, our city attorney remembers this. We were audited by Oracle, 5 departments in the city. And sanitation alone, once Oracle did the audit, Oracle came to sanitation and gave us a $3 million bill. Well, We disagreed that we were out of compliance, and we ended up getting in a protracted well, I want to say battles, discussion, sending data back and forth. And finally, after a little over a year, Oracle agreed we were indeed in compliance and sent us a letter to that effect. And interestingly, I did some statistics. Less than 2% of the companies that are audited by Oracle are successful in defending against a finding of being out of compliance like that. So that was pretty cool, and Ted helped a lot with that as well as Chris Westhoff. The LA Wind system, quite an accomplishment I'm very proud of. That's the large computerized control system used in the wastewater program and collection system. That project changed how we do procurement and installations of control systems throughout the city and nationally. It's the first of its kind in the country that a large project like that was done over a 15-year period of time, putting all 5 systems on the same platform and keeping them up to date. So that was a huge accomplishment. And as was mentioned, the MyLA 311 system, a little known fact, that was actually started as a partnership between sanitation and Department of Water and Power. And we were fairly far along on that, and we were approached by IT and other departments to add the Department of Public Works and design it in a way that it can be taken citywide. And so, as you know, 311 went live in 2005, which is a huge accomplishment, big system, and it went quite smoothly for a big, complicated system. So, again, very proud of those accomplishments. As also has been mentioned, could not have been done without great technical staff, some of which are here today. Thanks, everyone, for your great work. I could not have done it. Well, I couldn't have done it at all without them. They did all the work, all the heavy lifting. We had a great working relationship with our internal and external customers, too, and wonderful support from the board and council over the years, too. So thanks to everyone that came and supported me today. Thanks for Enrique's kind words, and it's been a pleasure and honor working all these years for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. So, we'll take a 1 to 2 minute recess just for a photo with Enrique and Mr. Irvin. Anybody else you guys want to have up? Okay, coming back on our agenda. Agenda item number 7, Council District 2, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis approving the request of Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated for subcontractor substitution of Mocon Corporation with Mike Perlich and Sons Incorporated for pipe installation and shoring work on the secondary sewer renewal program, Chandler Boulevard and Lankershim Boulevard area sewer improvement septic elimination rebid program or project. Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration, General Services Division. Our office received this request from Mike Perlich on January 5th, 2017, requesting the substitution of Mocon Corporation, their OBE subcontractor listed for pipe installation and shoring, and the request was to substitute it with their own forces. Their request was accompanied by a letter from Mocon claiming that they were withdrawing from the contract because they didn't have the capacity to do the work anymore. They had taken on other work in the meantime. The bid listed amount for Mocon's portion of the pipe and shoring work was $257,482. Mike Perlich and Sons will complete Mocon's portion of the work for that amount, so the substitution will be at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve the substitution.
Any questions? Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 7. Any issue sending number 7 forthwith? We will send number 7 forthwith. Thank you, Chris. Agenda item number 6 in Council District 9, Department of Transportation and the Bureau of Contract Administration. Installation of a new traffic signal, 33rd Street and Central Avenue. Recommending that the board approve the amended construction funding for the Central City East Adaptive Traffic Control System and increase the contingency by $267,505. That's with an additional 15% contingency as discussed in the report. And secondly, authorize the General Manager, Department of Transportation, to issue a supplemental non-participating change order bid item, NP 81, serial number 1, with KDC Incorporated doing business as Dyne Electric for the $267,505 to install a new traffic signal on 33rd Street and Central Avenue. Funding for the project has been acquired from Fund Number 484, Account 94NU09, and Fund Number 51. Q, account number 94K302. Adam Driscoll from DOT. Go ahead, sir. You're not Adam Driscoll from DOT.
I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Kyle Flake. I'm a transportation engineer with the Department of Transportation. I'm here to request approval of a non-participating change order to one of our projects, Central City East ATCS, which stands for Adaptive Traffic Control System. The non-participating change order consists of a new traffic signal at the intersection of 33rd and Central. And we received a council motion initiated by Council District 9 or instructing DOT to build the intersection at this location.
Any questions? I don't have any questions. Commissioner Sintos made a motion that we adopt this. The motion was attached, by the way. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 6. Thank you, sir. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Agenda item number 5. Council District 4, Bureau of Street Services and Bureau of Contract Administration. Authority to release a request for proposal and to negotiate with qualified parties for sidewalk maintenance, recommending that the board authorize the Bureau of Street Services to first distribute and release the transmitted request for proposal for the Wilshire Miracle Mile Sidewalk Maintenance District. Secondly, evaluate the RFP submissions, select and interview the most qualified proposers who submit the best and most responsive proposal. And third, negotiate any proposed contract with the most responsive proposers, subsequent to the receipt of and objective review of all of the proposals submitted in response to the transmitted RFP. And finally, return to the Board of Public Works for authority to award and execute a one-year contract with 2 one-year renewal options as negotiated. Mario and Terriano on number 5.
Good morning, everyone. Mario Antriano with the Bureau of Street Services. This maintenance district and related contract is located on Wilshire Boulevard between Sycamore Avenue and Fairfax Avenue. This assessment-funded contract includes sidewalk cleaning and washing, collection of trash from receptacles, landscape maintenance, including tree trimming and irrigation, and other necessary cleanup and maintenance work. This particular project, or RFP, is or will include the requirements of the Business Inclusion Program or Outreach Program. Performance of the BIP outreach will be done through the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network. And for this RFP, the city has established anticipated participation levels of 18% MBE, 4% WBE, 4% SBE, 4% EBE, and 4% DVBE. No minimum subcontracting, there is no minimum subcontracting requirement for this project. As far as the local business preference program, the city's local business preference program will be administered for this RFP. Proposers are eligible to participate in the LBP program by qualifying as a local business enterprise. The city shall grant 8% of the total possible evaluation points added to their evaluation score to those proposers who are certified as an LBE firm. Those proposers who do not qualify as an LBE but identify qualified LBE certified subcontractors to perform work under this RFP will receive a 1% preference up to a maximum of 5% of the total possible evaluation points added to their evaluation score for every 10% of the cost of the proposed work to be performed by certified LBE subcontractors. Per the Los Angeles Administrative Code, contracts for the performance of the work of maintenance may be let to the lowest responsible bidder or to the most qualified proposer as determined by an evaluated request for proposal process. This RFP process is being used to solicit the best available services at the most competitive rate. A review committee consisting of city staff will evaluate all proposals to determine which proposal, according to the evaluation criteria, which is 1, approach to work, proposal, scope, and cost at 60%, 2, qualifications and past experience at 30%, and 3, company characteristics at 10%. Bureau of Street Services will then negotiate a contract with the most qualified proposer and return with a recommendation to the board for authorization to enter into a contract with the selected proposer, as stated before, for 1 year with 2 renewal options. At this time, the Bureau of Street Services requests your authorization to advertise this project through the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network.
Okay, thank you, Mario. Commissioner Penning?
Can you explain to me where the funding for this comes from?
This is the funds that are made available for this particular RFP come through assessment through property taxes that are done annually. The assessments are done by fiscal year. So for this or for this current fiscal year, 16-17, we assessed approximately $183,000 for the total collection.
So those property owners
correct.
that are receiving the services were assessed a special...
Yes, there's a special assessment that's placed on the property owners that go from, I believe it's Sycamore to the east, all the way to Fairfax to the west.
Is it in perpetuity, or do they have to renew? Or
no, every year there's a new assessment that's made. So we always have to work with the LA County Assessor's Office to establish these assessments. And we also work with the Bureau of Engineering to determine the parcels as well, because some of them change in size, rarely, but sometimes they do.
How many of these districts do we have?
Currently, we have three active districts. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just interested. It's not something we hear about very often, but...
Yes, yes. This particular assessment district is probably one of the most current in that it does have is it a CPI index or consumer price index adjustment? So it does tend to stay within inflation rates and whatnot. So that's unlike the other two, the Ventura Assessment District and the Van Nuys.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Anything further, Commissioner Davis?
I wanted the overall budget for this particular project is what, generally?
It will be about $183,000 annually. So it'll be adjusted by the consumer price index for the second year and then the third.
Got you.
Yeah.
And so there's no contingency items
No.
on that one. So I appreciate the approach that we are using, and of course we should be using that approach in terms of looking at all of the various opportunities for inclusion. And I think that in terms of your discussion before we put out this request for proposal, that we've done a comprehensive job in terms of reaching out to all of the stakeholders that would do business potentially with us. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything else? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Thank you, sir. Any
Thank
issue
you.
sending it forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith.
Thank you very
Agenda
much.
item number 4, Bureau of Contract Administration and Engineering, Council District 2, requested acceptance of a contract. Mulholland Drive Bulkhead, recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Smith on number 4.
Yes, good morning again. Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration. This contract was awarded December 29, 2015 and completed January 13, 2016. Consisted of bulkhead repair and associated street repairs on Mulholland Drive near Coldwater Canyon Boulevard. There are no specific outreach requirements due to the emergency nature of the contract. There are no unresolved property or financial issues, and the Bureau recommends acceptance.
Any questions? I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 4. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 3, Bureaus of Contract Administration and Bureau and Engineering, Council District 3, Secondary Sewer Renewal Program at Saranya Avenue and Dumetz Road, recommending that the board accept the contract. Secondly, assess Ramona Incorporated with a penalty in the amount of $841 for the unauthorized substitution of one bid-listed subcontractor, and instruct the Director, Office of Accounting, to disencumber the recommended city penalty in the amount of $841 from the project fund. Ms. McGlinchey on number 3.
Good morning, Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. We're recommending a penalty of $841 be assessed Ramona. That is because Solon Construction was bid listed to perform $8,410 worth of saw cutting work. Staff confirmed that they performed $3,945 worth of work, which makes a difference of $4,465 that they were underutilized. Therefore, a penalty in the amount of 10% of their original bid listed amount, $841, is our recommendation. Staff did inform Ramona of this penalty recommendation. They responded that the type of asphalt that was there allowed them to use a grinder instead of saw cutting, which is what Solon had been listed for. However, there is no deduct change order, and Solon's sub-bid to Ramona was a lump sum bid for the saw cutting. So we had no way of reducing that amount. Based on that, we are recommending the penalty of $841.
Any questions? Commissioner Davis has made a motion that we adopt number 3, seconded by Commissioner Cinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 3. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, Ms. McGlinchey. Agenda item number 2 from the Bureau of Street Services in Council District 7. Requested tree removal 12336 through 12438 block of North San Fernando Road for street widening project. Recommending that the board find that the project is categorically exempt, and the board has reviewed and considered the information in the exemption exclusion determination, and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Second, find that none of the exceptions to the use of the categorical exemption as set forth in section 15300.2 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines apply. Third, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division located at 1149 South Broadway is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And fourth, approve the request for a tree removal by city forces for 3 California pepper and 2 African sumac trees. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 2.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Executive Officer, and the City Attorney. The Bureau of Street Services is proposing to perform street widening and other related street improvements along 12300 through 12400 block of North San Fernando Road on the northeast roadway. The Bureau will be widening the west side of the San Fernando Road northeast roadway and installing related street improvements from Sayre Avenue to Astoria Avenue. The west side of the roadway abuts a storm water channel and is unimproved with no concrete curb, gutter, or sidewalk. The scope of the project includes widening the roadway from an approximately 20-foot roadway to a 32-foot roadway with concrete curb and gutter. The improvements will also include construction of a 10-feet wide sidewalk. Lordino Hernandez, Bureau of Street Services Engineering Division, contacted the Urban Forestry Division to address the project's impact to the adjacent trees growing next to the channel. Urban Forestry Division arborist inspected the location on September 19, 2016, and determined 5 trees located on an unapproved strip of land within the project limits that are in the public right-of-way, and the 5 subject trees are 3 California peppers and 2 African sumacs. The trees measure approximately 20 to 45 inches in diameter by 20 to 30 feet in height and are in fair to poor condition. The subject street widening and related street improvements will severely impact these trees. Yolanda Fluentes, Council District 7, was informed of the tree removal request on September 2nd, 2016. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on September 16, 2016 as well. Proposed tree removals were then included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was notified. The Bureau shall plant 10 24-inch box-size Australian willow trees to replace the removed trees. In order for the Bureau to perform the proposed street widening and other related roadway improvements, the Urban Forestry Division recommends the Board approve the request to remove the 5 trees.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Any questions on number 2? I don't have any questions on number 2. I'll make a motion that we adopt number 2. Seconded by Commissioners Davis, Repenning, and Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 2. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 1 from the Bureau of Engineering in Council Districts 8, 9, 10, 13, and 15. Construction order to PPC Construction Incorporated, recommending that the board deny John S. Meek's request to correct a bid item in their bid because of a clerical error in connection with the Sidewalk Repair Program Package 32 project. Secondly, receive and file transmittal number 1. Third, award the construction order to PPC Construction. And fourth, authorize the city engineer to issue a construction order and a notice to proceed for the project to PPC in the amount of $1,558,857.50 with a not to exceed limit of $1,870,629, including contingency. Alice Kim, this is the item that I had continued from roughly a week ago today?
Yes, a week ago.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Alice Kim. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering Sidewalk Repair Program. I'm here to request the board to authorize the issuance of construction package number 32 for the sidewalk repair program to repair 11 sites at city facilities, which includes parks, recreation centers, fire and police stations, and an award to PPC Construction Incorporated. Now, in the budget for this fiscal year 16-17, it allocated $31 million to the sidewalk repair program in response to the pending Willits versus City of Los Angeles settlement agreement.
due to the importance of this agreement, we received authorization from Commissioner Jacinto on November 15 to use the emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical and structural contractor list to bid package number 32. On November 17th, bids were solicited to the 7 pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural construction services contractors. On December 6th, 5 bids received, and the lowest responsive bidder was PPC Construction Incorporated. The following day, on December 7th, a bid protest was submitted by John S. Meeks. The basis of the protest was due to a transcription error in which the intended unit bid cost for item number 4 for removing sidewalks was intended to be $4.50, but for $4.50 per square foot, but was transcribed to $450 per square foot in the bid proposal. Make believes that error should be reevaluated and be given the opportunity to correct the error. But in accordance to the general instruction and instructions for bidders in Part 4-1E, in case of discrepancy between the unit price and the item total for the bid item, the unit price shall prevail. However, if the unit price or the item total is ambiguous, intelligible, or identical to the entry in the item total column, or uncertain for any cause, then both unit price and the total item should be considered by the city as blank and calculated as described in D1, D2, D3, and D5 above whenever possible. So as a result, BOE staff adjusted Meeks unit total, unit item at a cost of $450 that resulted in a bid total cost of $31,521,700 and a total bid amount of $31,605,087, in which PPC became the lowest responsible bidder. This matter was discussed with Assistant City Attorney Mr. Edward Jordan, and he concurs with the BOE's recommendation in this regard. Now, funding is available through the Sidewalk Repair Program in Fund 57F. So in conclusion, it is staff's recommendation to issue construction order for package number 32 project in an amount of $1,588,857.50 with a not to exceed limit of $1,870,629 to PPC Construction Incorporated. That concludes my report, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, ma'am. So just so I can summarize, picking up where we left off. What caught my attention was if the $4.50 per unit calculation were used, because if you look at let me start first of all. If you look at the city engineer's estimate of $2,065,327, all 4 bids, 4 out of the 5 of the bids make sense. PPC is at $1.5 million, it's 24% low. Clark Contracting is $1.7 million. Mike Perlich and Sons is $1.8 million, and Environmental Construction is $2 million. Then you get to John Meek, which is $31 million. And I got to believe that if they were really going to bid $31 million, they might pass on a bidding $31 million on a project that the city estimate is $2 million. So that means that I would look at the Meek bid, and lo and behold, if it's the $4.50 instead of the $450, that their bid listed amount would be $1,388,604. That would make them the low bid by $170,000 or so. So we cleared that confusion up from the last meeting, and now I have a couple of questions for the city attorney. And I only hearken back to an item that was the $550 issue versus the $5.50 issue that we had when we were upstairs, Ted, on that, where we had the missing zero. Here we have the bouncing decimal point. And or a missing decimal point. Are we reasonable in, are we allowed, do we have the discretion to accept Meek's request that we correct the transcription error regarding the intended unit price of $4.50 that was transcribed as $450, given the circumstances described by Ms. Kemp?
Yes, the BOE's recommendation matches the letter of the bid instruction. The bid instruction is fairly clear. It says when there's a discrepancy between the unit price and the extended price for that bid item, the unit price shall prevail. However, I do believe the board has discretion to have the extended bid, to have the extended price for that bid item prevail over the unit price, notwithstanding our instruction to the opposite. There is a case that we've looked at pretty carefully. It's a decision from the Comptroller General of the United States in the nearly identical bidding situation. First of all, the bid instructions where unit price prevails over extended price on a bid item, that's fairly common. So in the case of a federal bid, they had that same instruction, and a bidder did the same thing. In that particular case, I made a note here, they had written 54,000 instead of 5,400. So that particular bid item then was 10 times higher than it was meant to be. In that case, the finder of fact, the comptroller's office, found that when the low bidder was, it found that the low bidder was allowed to use their extended price instead of the unit price, when it was clear on the record that the only price that made sense was the extended price, the one that they wrote, and that you can reasonably read from the bid that that was the only price that they had intended to do. And the factors that the decision maker looked at there were what was the government's estimate for that particular bid item, and what did the other bidders do. So in that particular case, there was a range of bids for a bid price $3,400 to $15,000. The bidder came in at $5,400. They were right in the ballpark of the range. Here in the case with the contract before you, I believe the other bidder had written $3 a square foot to the $4.50 that's at issue here. I don't know what our own estimate was for the bid item price for the square footage price for sidewalk, but I'm assuming, given where the bids fell within our overall estimate, that we're right in the ballpark. The bottom line is, if the board finds that the only price that makes sense here is the extended price, you can take that over the unit price, even though the rules say you should do the opposite.
I would recommend doing that. To me, this case is obvious. As a matter of fact, we got to it last time without even seeing all of this, just from the motion that was written by the Bureau of Engineering, because they were as comprehensive in their motion as they were, explaining what happened. And so I know it's not their recommendation, as their recommendation is to follow they don't have the discretion we do. Their recommendation is to follow the letter of the instruction. But particularly given this case that Mr. Jordan has described to us, it feels like we fit right into the scenario. We have this one outlier like they had in that case. And when you apply what is reasonable of $4.50 versus $4.50 by placing a decimal point, they fit right within the ballpark with all the others. And I just feel like it's our duty in this instance to save the taxpayer $170,000 where we have the opportunity to. Commissioner Jacinto?
President James, I agree with you. I think that the staff did their job accordingly, and that we have checked in with the city attorney in terms of any leeway or discretionary action that we may have. And I think it's appropriate, I agree with you, it's appropriate in this case to exercise that ability.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Mr. Jordan?
Yeah, just for the record, because I happen to have the bid in front of me, so I don't want there to be any ambiguity. It wasn't a case where they wrote the digits 450 and failed to put a decimal in. What they wrote was 450 with a little 00 and a line underneath it. So they wrote $450. I don't think that changes the analysis in any way, but I just want to be
You want the
clear.
record
I want the
corrected.
record to
Yeah.
reflect that they didn't just write 450 and fail to put a dot there.
But still,
It doesn't change the analysis.
that would mean that they would be submitting a $31 million bid on a $2 million project.
Yes, and the item total for that particular bid item, number 4, the bid item total was $305,217. That number is the number you get if you assume the unit price is meant to be $4.50.
Right, which is important. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. That's an important point. That amount is the amount, so you can back your way into it by using their total amount of the $305,000. Yeah. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I agree with everything that has been said, and most of all, given all of the issues that we've deliberated, the savings to the taxpayers is the bottom line.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. So that'll be my motion, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Thank you, Ms. Kim. Thank you for the added work on this to the Bureau of Engineering as well.
And Mr. President, that is as amended.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So just to clarify, and for the record, that would be amending recommendation number 1 to change the word deny to accept, and then add in the words in that the extended price is the only reasonable price that makes sense. Also, recommendation number 3 would be to award the contract to John S. Meek. And then recommendation number 4, the same thing. We would replace the word PPC with John S. Meek.
Right. Although that number's going to change?
And we would change the dollar amount as well.
Right, accordingly.
Accordingly,
to what's
yes.
on the record.
Yes.
It would be the 1 million. I can tell you what the number is, but the contingency will have to be recalculated. The number is, Ted, do you have it handy? 1,003,000 something. It's $1,388,604.
$1,388,604.
Right. And then do
Plus
you have
the
the contingency number?
The contingency,
The not to exceed limit?
what I did before, I added 20% on top of the original contract. So for this, I was assuming we're going to keep the same amounts
Yes.
to add more sites?
Yes.
Okay. So the total would be
Wait, so we would keep the same percentage,
the 20%?
right?
Ooh, I didn't count.
But it would be 20% of the 1.38.
Yeah.
We'll get that from Mr. Campos here.
I apologize.
I'm going to calculate it right now.
I think the intent is to award it in the amount bid by John S. Meek.
Yes.
So adding in the 20% contingency, that not to exceed limit would be $1,666,324.80.
Would you say that again?
$1,666,324.80.
Okay, so the order, that's my motion as amended, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issues as amended? Any issues sending one as amended forthwith? We'll send one as amended forthwith. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campos and Mr. Jordan. Have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we're adjourned with the exception of the Bureau Heads meeting, which takes place now.